60% or more employees are spending up to 2 hours a day on social media websites during their workday.
Welcome to World at Work TV. I'm Marsha Rhodes. Today we're discussing social media in the workplace, and with me is Jonna Contaco-Sawyer and Albert Lee. Jonna, let's start with you. Why do employers still have such an issue with social media in the workplace?
It's a love-hate relationship. I think that employers can see the good side of social media, how it can improve their branding, increase sales, increase return on investment for recruitment strategies, and on the other side, it can cause damage to their reputation if employees are saying things that are offensive or not fact-based about their companies, as well as decreasing productivity on behalf of the employees, spending more time online as a course of the workday. The challenges surrounding social media provides an opportunity for employers. For those employees that are reporting that they spend a lot of work time online, they do it because they don't feel challenged, they're bored, or they are not satisfied in their job. So I think herein lies the opportunity. How are jobs designed? How are we communicating expectations to employees? How are we managing their performance? What kind of development opportunities are we giving them? And also, are we getting them involved in establishing social media policy to begin with, to help to leverage the pros of social media to help our companies and our employees?
We've seen so many advantages to using social media in recruitment, for example. Albert, what are some of the risks?
The risks are that once someone puts something on social media, they can't take it down. So if they behave in a way that you don't want them to behave, they can be seen as representing your company. If they disparage a customer, disparage a client, disparage a competitor, if they say something that's discriminatory or evidences some animus against some group of people, then it's out there and it's difficult to take that back. And if it's an employee doing it with the aura of the company, then it could open the company's wallet.
Share some examples of reputation damage and legal liability and what the employer could have done to prevent it in the first place.
I have a client that's in a pre-K environment, and one of their employees posted a first name of a child that was in services. Well, the family member was connected to the employee's Facebook and knew that their child was being discussed and was very upset, complained to the executive director, and the employee was disciplined. I think that in this case they could have provided more education and training about what confidential information is and how an innocent first name of a child could actually come back and cause problems for the company.
I know of a client who is in the technology business, and there was an employee who, in a classic pose trying to take his own picture, held the phone up and took the picture of the background. And what he didn't realize was that in the background there was a pallet of shipment of a product that was not officially announced. So by posting that onto his Facebook, he's alerted the world that this shipment is out and about to go into the market.
It's getting tougher and tougher to ban social media in the workplace because everybody has a smartphone these days. Should employers issue policies or maybe just some guidelines?
I think they should issue both. The guidelines generally describe the tone of the organization as it relates to whether they're embracing social media and getting employees involved in helping utilize social media for the good of the company versus policies which identify more specific behaviors that are expected of employees while they're online and link those to other policies within the organization. It's actually a great training resource to use the policy itself to help employees understand their behaviors critical when they're online and what are the consequences in the event that they violate policies.
But the tone is very important.
The tone is very important. It sets the tone whether, again, it's a positive approach to social media or if it's more of a controlling, regulated environment.
I totally agree. A policy is important. But I would add that in addition to having the policy, you need to implement it well and consistently, and you have to train your people about that. You need to get out the word that this is our culture, our rules on this type of behavior, and make sure that we follow them.
Anything else we should be mindful of?
Well, I think as you look at social media in general, social media is a way that didn't exist not that long ago for employers to know a lot more about what their people are doing once they leave the company. We used to have to just hear stories the next morning, but now we know what people are posting from their computers at home about work. If they're posting that they don't like work, they don't like their supervisor, if they're picking up the feud that was left off when they left work. Now the employer's challenged with how to deal with that information. And there's some legal issues as to where and whether you can act on that out-of-work activity.
Now, does freedom of speech apply here in any way?
It can if you're a public employer. If you're a government, a school district, and so forth, then the constitutional freedom of speech applies. If you're a private employer, you don't have that issue. You have some other guidelines that you have to follow.
Albert, are there any scenarios where an employee has a legal right to post whatever he wants on Facebook about his employer?
There are, and the source of the regulation is a surprise to a lot of employers. There's a law called the National Labor Relations Act, which is the law that protects people's rights to unionize or choose not to be in a union. It has long been held that part of that right requires you to be able to complain about work, to complain about how much you're making, how much you're not making, complain about other conditions. The board, the National Labor Relations Board that is in charge of enforcing that act, has always been very vigilant about employers who kind of crack down and silence people who are trying to exercise that right. Well, social media walks right into that, because now you have the ability with one click to voice all sorts of opinions and have it be seen by coworkers who can then like it, chime in, add their comments, all while a potential employer, customer, client sees this. So a lot of employers are really challenged by what do we do about this negative publicity that's floating out there, and they have to hold themselves back sometimes. There is a level for covered employees, a level of moaning and complaining that the law protects them in doing.
Social media can be a very powerful tool when used correctly. Jonna and Albert, thank you so much for joining us. For World at Work, I'm Marsha Rhodes.